Likewise. So we wanted to talk about like the differences we see between the Southeast and the Northwest. She lives up here in the Northwest, and we're both from Georgia, obviously. I mean, she's my sister. I grew up in the same house, so I mean, some families aren't like that.
True.
And so what were things that struck you the most when you moved here?
Definitely the fast food being trash and really overpriced. Like I went to Wendy's and just got like a burger and like a Frosty. It was $12.
Yeah, like we got coffee today. The coffee was really good and worth it because it was a huge cup. It was like at least 32 ounces. And it was really good, but it was $16 for 2 large well, she got a smoothie and I got a Frappuccino basically. So yeah, like the food prices that's what I've spent all my money on here pretty much.
That's
food.
definitely what the like whenever people talk about like how the cost of living is and how it's like really hard to like live in areas where the minimum wage is higher, that's usually like what they're talking about, because the grocery prices are the same.
I mean, I got 4 oranges for like $2.13 because they were 79 cents. So,
and especially like a lot of seasonal stuff like cherries, grapes, and apples are really cheap whenever they're in season up here since they grow them locally. And it's just I don't know, it's just like really the only like time I see the cost of living being different is whenever I go out to eat. Because since they're paying their workers more, they're gonna charge more for their menu prices and their drink prices, and just everything goes up from that aspect.
Yeah, which I also think is interesting because when we went shopping, the price of those goods aren't up. They're like the same as I would pay for in Atlanta or whatnot. Like we went to a local, kind of like a local Lush body shop kind of thing, and I got a huge bath bomb for like maybe $6, a candle, 2 packs of those candle melts, all for like, and something else too, I think, for like $20. And I'd actually spend more at like Lush or somewhere, and it's like in the shops I didn't spend nearly as much as I did on food. Even like one place we shared a meal and it was still 16 something. We got water. The water didn't charge anything. We just got a sandwich and a side of soup and a cookie and shared that for lunch, and that was still like $16.
Yeah, like I remember when I was like a teenager, I was able to go. Now this is when the Dollar Theater still existed.
It's the Dollar Theater.
May it rest in peace. But I was able to go to Mike's Dogs and like buy
It's a local hot dog place.
Yeah, and they have like burgers and stuff and like
really
fries. And I was able to get. It's like in the parking lot of the Dollar Theater too, so it's
like right there, super convenient.
Just get dropped off.
Yeah, you can hit up the Mike Dogs, the theater, and DJ's isn't there anymore either. Yeah, there's like an arcade kind of place, right? Like he's.
But I remember being able to buy me and my boyfriend at the time dinner and a movie and tip for $20.
Yeah, like a $20 could go a long way.
Like $20 was date night, and now it's like $40 for dinner, fucking $25 to go to the theater, $40 if we get snacks, like a drink.
A drink.
And it's just like a lot more expensive. But it's also like kind of a nice deterrent because it makes you want to go outside and do more like free stuff like the parks and hiking.
Which is nice that they have here. That's what we mostly did, was like free stuff in parks and hiking. And it was really nice. It was really relaxing and soothing. And that's like one thing I noticed is like the vibe is completely different. It's much more relaxed here. Like the South is slow, and I mean that in many ways. But it's not like a slow, relaxed pace. It's just like, it's slow for the sake of being slow. Up here, it is very chill. It's like, we'll get the work done, but, you know, we're just gonna be chill about it. Would you say that's the case?
Yeah. I mean, besides, like, the occasional, like, tweaker, but... But, I mean, yeah, besides that, like, most people in general are pretty, like, chill. The only people I've met that haven't been chill are just, like, that's, like, their personality. It's not their environment. Because a lot of people I met, like, a lot of people I knew in our hometown, like, they were chill people, but they would act not chill and, like, stressed out.
Yeah, because
and,
they were
like,
just so
we
stressed
need to do
because
this.
of the environment. Yeah. I feel like this is a good place to, like, vacation if you just need to chill. Like, even, like, beach places, you still, like, have sand everywhere. And it can be frustrating because there are a lot of people there. This is just, like, a very, very chill, like get out of, like, the busy mentality and just, even, like, as cliche as it sounds, reconnect with nature and stuff. Like, today we went on a hike. We saw... probably at least 10 deer.
Yeah, like we saw a
they were really close to us.
They were probably like as close as like 20 feet away.
Yeah.
And on the trail, and like they weren't afraid of humans. They weren't like, they weren't scared. They weren't even scared of like a dog barking at them. Like they didn't give a shit.
They were just like, you can't get to me.
And also we saw this like a gopher. We thought it was a beaver at first, and like as it ran off, we like saw its tail.
Yeah.
But it was like really close to us too, and like it's just there. Like
yeah.
Like I don't know. Like
it's just
whenever. Sorry.
No, you're good. It's like even when you see a squirrel in the park in the sidewalk, like it's gonna run away from you, and it wasn't. That's like used to seeing humans and stuff. These animals are just super chill. It's like even the animals are chill here. The weather is very striking because now in Georgia, it's been in like the high 60s and mid 70s for a good month now. And up here, when I got here last week, a week ago, there was still snow on the ground because you guys had a later winter. But it's like you have like full actual seasons while we just have 2 weeks of fall.
Oh yeah, they are
3 months of winter.
They're like stark too. Like I didn't really like all of the things that like that you learn about in like elementary school, like all the songs they teach you, like April Rains, Flowers, like that's like all true here.
Yeah, we don't get any of that. You have like you have pollen season, which is from late February to early June, and then you have Satan's asshole from June to late September. So yeah, we don't really get seasons in Georgia, so that's really neat.
That was definitely my favorite thing when I moved here, like being able to like have that stark contrast of every season. And like here you also have to be more in tune with nature because of the winters here. They get pretty insane, and like there's the decision to get snow tires or chains, and you have to like keep in mind, like you always have to keep in mind the weather here.
Yeah, you really have to make sure your car vehicle is fully winter ready. Because like in the south, it's like get your oil changed and get some durable windshield wipers
and
at most. Yeah, fine. Like
but
you'll
like,
be fine.
Here you have to like be really fucking careful because like there's a lot of roads here that don't have any like when we were driving to where we hiked today, like, there was just like a road that was super bumpy and full of cracks and potholes, and then like a drop off that was like a cliff.
Mm-hmm. Like right down into a ravine into the river.
A river. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't just be like fucking around. You just can't fuck around here with like your car.
Not at all. And one thing I also noticed was how well the city is taken care of. I'm not sure if this is for Washington as a whole, but in Spokane, like the roads are a little rough because they have a lot more ice in winter, and the salt they put down, it tears at the roads, but they're still pretty well maintained despite all that.
You definitely don't see a lot of trash. Like people don't
really it's very clean. People don't litter. They actually use the trash cans that are provided. And it's just like the city really, for the most part, really cares. And like, yeah, like all towns, it has its not so great parts. But I mean, on the whole, it's really nice. Like the city next over, a good half of it is just falling to pieces because the government doesn't care about it. They only care about the parts that's going to bring them in money, and that's a very, very small part of Macon. But here it's like, yes, some places need a little bit more care, but there's still some focus and attention being paid to them. And like, obviously, yeah, they're working on like downtown stuff, touristy stuff, which will bring them in more revenue. But
like, also what I do like is that like they're like renovating places and renovating houses, but not upping the rent.
That is really nice.
So, like, our apartment is completely remodeled. Like, they gutted the place and, like, put in new floors, new carpet, new granite countertops, like, new bathtub, new tiling. And it's, like, fucking $795 a month for a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment.
Yeah, that is not bad at all.
That's basically downtown.
Mm-hmm. It's, like, not even 10 minutes down the road, if that. And you're only 10 minutes from the airport, but you wouldn't know.
Yeah, it's like 10 minutes to like the center of downtown, because like once you go past the interstate,
and like
it's like downtown.
Also, like the interstate's not even a block away, and you can't even hear it.
That is really nice. But I've seen like apartments way shittier go for like $900 a month for like a 1-bedroom. Even like our hometown.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I have some friends that live in Decatur, which is north of Atlanta, like 30 minutes out of downtown, and they have a 1-bedroom. It's a nice apartment. It's a really nice complex, really nice apartment, but it's small. It is really small. It's good for 2 people, and a young married couple, but it's $1,000 for a 1-bedroom. I mean, they have a nice kitchen. Like I said, it's really nice, but it's still $100 for a 1-bath, 1-bedroom apartment just because of the location, which I get. But at the same time, there are places like in other cities where you can get a 2-bedroom for that or 3-bedroom, and it still just be as nice and livable and comfortable and have all the commodities you want.
Oh, what was different when I moved here is it was kind of hard to get an apartment because almost all the apartments had no availability.
Oh.
Yeah, it was actually, well, at least like in the nice parts of town, like where I live is considered like a nice part of town, and like it's really hard to get into an apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And just like renting here is kind of like difficult. But like it's not hard like once you put in your application and stuff. It's just like it's hard to find a good place with the specifications at the price point that you want.
Yeah, I'm constantly out of frame. Yeah, that was one thing I noticed. Saturday we were downtown. We were downtown for a while, and by the time it got like 6 o'clock, like it wasn't tremendously busy. The mall was busy, but they had something for this big festival you guys got coming up. But outside of the mall, like it was already not too terribly busy, but like you would expect a Saturday night, the downtown area just to be like crazy busy with people going to restaurants and bars and stuff like that. There was like no one on the streets. It was dead on a Saturday night, which I thought was really interesting because like Atlanta, Saturday night is crazy busy until about 10:30 p.m., 11, and then it starts to slow down, and then by 2 there's nobody on the roads.
Yeah, usually from my experience, people just like they pick a bar to stay at, and then like they might move to another bar and then maybe another bar, but usually it's like by 6 o'clock they're in a bar having their like pub feed, and they're gonna hang out there for a few hours, and then like at 9 o'clock they might move to another one.
Mm-hmm.
And then like a couple hours later they'll move to another one until it closes, and they saunter home. Speaking
of like alcohol and stuff, I was completely thrown. Like I stopped in the middle of the grocery store when I saw this, because in Georgia, like at CVS's and grocery stores and stuff like that, you can get wine and beer, which I know my friends in New Jersey were like, what? Ready to get your mind blown if you don't have this in your area. You can buy liquor, proper liquor, at any grocery store here. And I was just like, I saw a stand of vodka like by the apples, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
And they'll have like a whole liquor aisle,
and like every aisle they'll have a stand for like wine, or like there's this vodka that they make locally called Tito's.
I didn't know that was local.
Well, not local to like here, but local to Washington, like the region. But people are like, local vodka. But,
I only trust vodka from Russia.
Right.
But, only thing I trust from Russia.
Yeah, it is really nice. It is a bit more expensive though. It is like a lot more expensive at grocery stores. Like they tax it a lot because you're able to get it.
Yeah, like at grocery stores in Georgia, they tax cigarettes out the roof.
Like I haven't seen here, but like I know that if you go to like a proper liquor store here, then it's like cheaper. I don't know how much cheaper. I've just been told.
I haven't been bought liquor in so long. In general. Yeah, so that was really kind of shock. Like they had everything. They had different types of vodka. They had Baileys. Like, they had bourbon. They had Hennessy. Like everything. Well, I mean, like I said earlier in the week, like it gets really cold here, and you know, liquor warms you up. So
yeah,
that's true. Filling. How people are here. Like, along with being chill, they're really polite. And I wonder, like, if that's, like, a part of, like, the Canadian stereotype leaking down. Because we're, 3 hours from Canada?
Mm-hmm.
Roughly. So, people are really polite. Like, people talk about Southern hospitality, but that's a lie. I will tell you straight out, there are a few people who are, like, really genuinely sweet, but the majority that you come across, you know, maybe they might invite you into their home and, you know, feed you a meal and whatnot and ask how, you know, your grandparents are and your dog and all that. But as soon as you leave, they're talking shit behind your back. As soon as you leave.
Like, there's definitely still, like, the assholes here and, like, the people that are, like, coming off of something. But for the most part, yeah, like, people are usually, like, a bit more chill here.
Yeah, like, we were on the, trails earlier today, and this lady was like, girls, get your camera ready, there's deers over there. She could have just kept walking and not bothered to tell us at all. She could have just like, so we didn't see it at first. It was behind us.
Yeah, and we walked right past it.
Mm-hmm. And there was like another couple that were jogging down the trail, and we're just like, excuse us ladies, thanks. And I've been hiking in Georgia. A lot of times they just expect you to move. They expect you to hear them and they expect you to move, and they won't say anything.
Or they'll just like nudge past you without saying anything.
I don't know. I feel like Southerners are nicer to people visiting than they are their own, if that makes sense.
Yeah. But it's also nice because like in our hometown, if I dressed anything like weird, I would get like a lot of fucking looks. Like even when like I was dressed like pretty like toned down when I was like visiting, I got like looks from people, and I was like, what the fuck? I'm just wearing like,
I mean, I get looks anyways because my hair's short.
Just wearing regular shit. Like I'm just wearing a crop top and high-waisted jeans.
It was December.
Fuck. Maybe that's why they were.
It was December. To be fair, like. How the weather's been up here the last week, it's been in like the 50s and 40s. That's Georgia's mid-January.
That's true, because I did come from like 15 degrees to like 50 degrees. Yeah. And I was like, oh fuck.
It's hot.
So hot. I felt really awkward because I was like sitting, when I was waiting for you guys to pick me up from the airport, I was like sitting, I had all my like layers off, and I was just like laid out.
Bitch in the sun like a lizard.
I was so hot and sweating. Like I was sweating in 50 degree like.
Meanwhile, I had a thick cardigan on, and the gray and tan one.
There was like the people on the next bench over wearing like thick fur coats. And we're like, fuck, it's cold outside.
Yeah. I had a thought and I lost it. You said the fast food was trash, and I believe that, but the places, like the home-owned places, are that is really where it's good. Fucking at. Yeah, if you're gonna spend your money on food, spend it on the home-owned places.
Like they love local stuff here, which is really great.
And that's like another thing in the grocery store. There's not really an organic section because everything's pretty much organic.
Yeah, like that's what I was telling you guys. Because I was like, fuck, like when I was visiting Georgia, I'm like, shit, like the organic stuff is the same price as like the regular stuff in Georgia. when it comes to produce.
And I think like there's something like both how we both like we get a lot of our produce from Georgia, South Carolina, Florida, and you guys get a lot locally when it's in season up here, and then also from California, so you still like get the benefit of having those agricultural centers and getting produce for a lot cheaper.
Be in the Midwest.
Yeah, how is it in the Midwest? Anybody can tell us. My hair feels like a helmet.
Fucking wheat fields. Ooh.
Yeah.
I feel like crusty mine is. It's like spider webs.
It is.
Like dusty spider webs.
Like this. We're trying out a hair thing. I'll put that video up before I put this one up. It doesn't feel good.
Like I feel like I can't fill up my fucking like tank of gas. Like my hair just catch on fire just from that.
Just breathing in those fumes. Or your hair getting close to those fumes.
Is that an amber? Oh, Josiah's watching a creepypasta.
Oh, okay. Well, like, is the roof about to fall in? Like, anything else you can think of that was strikingly different? Snow every winter?
Yeah, that is a big part. Like, I don't know, it's so like normal to me now. Because I'm like, I've had my second winter here, but like when I first came, I was like, when I was walking to work and there was just like thick layer, like fucking like thick layer of ice on the fucking road. Oh, that fucking sucked. That really fucking sucked.
I should like just like during the winter carry one of the canisters of salt and just pour it in front of you as you walk.
Or just bring boiling water. Definitely like people giving a shit about nature and like
actually caring about it.
And nature. Yeah, I already said nature, but
it's okay. It's fine. And like,
because I think our town has maybe like 1 or 2 parks, and they're not even like proper parks. They're just like a playground and then like a baseball diamond.
Yeah, and they're really run down. Even though like the city's supposed to be taking care of them.
Like they haven't been updated in like 40 years.
Not even with like a coat of paint or anything.
Yeah, because like there's like the same playground equipment that's like starting to like rust up and shit. It's fucking gross.
And like the houses here, like there's a lot of houses from the 1800s and early 1900s still standing in amazing condition that people are living in. And a lot of those places in the next town over, because our town was only built in 1949. It's a relatively new town, so we don't have any fancy architecture like that. But the next town over started in the early 1800s. And there's only a handful of those houses still left because people they were abandoned and people have torn them down and just
like
not
a lot
given
of these houses have stayed in the family. Or at least like they get bought up really fast, or even if they fall into disrepair, they get like bought and then like flipped. Like people really fucking care about property value here.
Yeah, and just preservation.
And like you can see it.
Like people care about their communities and their surroundings. And like there's we didn't go to it just because we broke, but there's a fairly decent Japanese influence in town, and there's like cultural things they have, and by they I mean the community. There was a food fest, a Japanese food fest in one of the districts, and it wasn't too bad. It was like $5 to $15 for like a plate, depending on what you were getting. There is a women's center that used to be a church, and I think they still probably have like prayer and study time like that. But it's like,
but it's like a shared.
Yeah.
Like they have like, because there's that community center, and then there's like a couple blocks over is like this like kind of homeless shelter sort of community, but like you don't have to like do any paper, like you can just kind of like stay there for a night if you need to.
Yeah, and like the women's community system, they had like a lot of crafting. It was like where you can like get away and just spend time with other women and talk or whatnot. they had like a lot of crafts all around, and they would sell it on the weekends, you know, just a little side hustle and stuff like that, which is really nice. There are groups like that in our town, but there's nothing like stably established like that. So I think overall it definitely feels more of like a community. And one thing I noticed, a big thing I noticed,
what?
There are hardly any black people here.
Oh yeah.
There's hardly any African American influence.
Only 2% of the population is spoken. And just the Northwest in general. I think Oregon, their whole African American population is maybe like 3-4%.
Oof.
There's
yeah, and I noticed like in like hair and dress wise, yeah, like you don't get like two glances of how you look, which is nice, but pretty much everyone kind of wears the same things. I've seen a lot of khaki shorts, a lot of flannel, a lot of just windbreakers and jeans, no hairstyles.
Yeah.
It's all just flat hair.
It's all like same face,
yeah,
same hairstyle, same beard.
All like women's like put up in a ponytail, and it's just very, very flat. No volume.
It's very athleisure.
Yeah.
How people dress.
It's like I'm ready to go hiking at any second.
Right. And like the one thing though that will give you looks is if you like show up at a grocery store in like your pajamas, like.
Oh yeah, that's fair. That's anywhere. It's like at least put some proper pants on.
I don't know. I would do that like Kroger and like fucking Walmart.
I mean, I have done that.
But like here though, if you're fucking walking around in pajamas, like people think
there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, what the fuck? You like degenerate.
Like put some damn pants
on. Plaid, man.
Yeah. So, as last time, anything else that really struck you?
People like worship REI. Like people just
outdoors, yeah.
Fucking love outdoor stores. Even if they're not outdoorsy, they'll dress like they like are outdoorsy.
Yeah, like I feel like if I lived up here, I'd be a lot more outdoorsy.
I don't know. I thought so too, but I really like. But I think it's more like me getting into like a rut and like not having a lot of money, so I've been like working a lot and not really having
just
like making the time. That is definitely like a struggle, but that's like kind of.
That can really be anywhere.
Yeah, it's just like my personal struggle.
Yeah, that's fair. Like I had to force myself to start taking daily walks. We talked about this, but yeah. So overall, there's definitely a striking difference in just the overall mood of the Southeast versus the Southwest or Northwest.
It's definitely less racist.
At least blatantly.
Yeah.
I don't know about their underbelly, but yeah, definitely a lot less blatantly racist. But there's also like not a lot of people of color up here.
Yeah.
So when everybody looks the same, I guess
it is like just anything goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Weather is a huge one, and food. A lot of healthy food. A lot more healthy food options. So there's still definitely junk.
A big difference is also like weed's legal here.
Oh yeah.
You can just go into like a store and buy it. It's not.
Yeah, it's only legal in the city of Atlanta, and hardly at that. It's very very restricted in Georgia. But yeah.
What else?
This will cut off at 29:59.
Oh,
yeah.
Never mind.
I mean, I'll just start re-recording. Mash it together.
Nice.
The magic of editing.
Oh, there's no income tax in Washington, which is nice.
It is nice. I didn't even notice that.
Mm-hmm.
That's really nice.
Well, like, you wouldn't notice it unless you, like, worked here.
Yeah.
Because it'd be on your stuff.
Yeah, true. So you get more of your paycheck.
And you get bigger tax refunds here. Don't know why, I haven't really looked into the tax laws, but I know that when I was doing taxes, I worked the same amount of time in Georgia, made the same amount of money, but I got, like, fucking $50 back from Georgia, and I got $600 back from Washington. So it's like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
I definitely, I think it's just, I don't know if it's like the environment or like the West Coast, or if maybe I just wasn't around like the right people and like, not the right people, but like I was around like maybe sheltered people in Georgia or something, but like everyone I know has at least like tried drugs, and a lot of people have done like hard drugs. And it's just like not, it's like a non-issue here, like people don't, like, it's not like
stigmatized.
Yeah, but it's also like it's like looked down upon, of course, but it's like, it's just something that like every teenager does at some point here. And like, I don't know, maybe it's just like a West Coast thing, and maybe it's just the people I've met. Like, I'm sure there's tons of people that like maybe it's just like the circle
an
of
apartment
people
downstairs at Wesleyan. They had like tried everything under the sun.
Yeah. No, I definitely had a couple friends like that,
but it wasn't.
But like
a lot.
Fucking everyone I work with. And then this is a Jimmy John's, so. But even the people that worked at the Jimmy John's I worked at in Georgia, like they like. Almost none of them did anything or tried
I think
anything.
It's harder to access than Georgia, at least in our hometown. Maybe in Atlanta it's different.
Maybe. But you would think since it's so close to Atlanta.
I mean, would you really drive 2 hours to just experiment with something? Like, True. If you're addicted, then maybe, but
True.
Try it for one time? Probably not.
I mean, people drive it, like, people get all their drugs from, like, Seattle here.
Yeah. And that isn't, like, we're only 4 hours from Seattle, 3 hours from Canada.
A big difference.
And, like, really close to Portland, too.
A big difference is also, like, getting around's a bit harder since there's so many national parks. Like, they don't just slap a highway through everything.
Yeah.
You have to, like, drive around and, like, take really roundabout ways to get to places. And that's a bit frustrating. Because you can go down the entire, like, East Coast in, like, what, like 16 hours?
Yeah.
And, like,
on pretty much one highway. I think when I drove from Georgia to New Jersey, I only changed highways once.
Yeah, like when me and Josiah went from here, which is like pretty much like the top.
Yeah, we're at
of the West
top
Coast,
of the country.
Down just to like basically San Francisco, it was like 16 hours just to get to like Northern California. Because there's like not a lot of like highways that run through like Oregon and Washington. And just even like Northern California. Like usually there's just like one or two like roads that people use because there's just like so much like conservation, so many national parks scattered.
Mm-hmm.
Which is nice. It's beautiful, but it's also like getting around, like you might as well just fucking fly.
Yeah, which is fair.
Which like that's like unheard of in Georgia to like fly to a place that's 4 hours away. But here it's like, I don't want to go over the fucking pass that's covered in snow and it's like scary and mountainous. I'm just gonna fucking fly over to Seattle.
Like
fuck it.
Last month, or back in February, or was it early March? I don't remember. They all blend together after a while. We drove 2 states over, like, for a convention.
Like one time my friend, he was like, just on the fly, he needed me. Well, first I moved out of my dorm, which was 2 hours away, and 2 hours back. So I had to go like take 2 trips because my boyfriend at the time, he overestimated how much space he had in his car. So I had to like help him move. So that was like 8 hours in one day, like going there and back and there and back.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next day, my friend, who lived at a college that was 6 hours away, he needed me to come and like pick him up because he was like stranded, like he had no place to like stay or go, and his mom has narcolepsy, so she couldn't pick him up. So like I drove out there to like pick him up and then back in one day, and it was nothing.
Yeah, I go to like Atlanta,
and it was on like my little like piece of shit like Saturn like 95, 1995.
Yeah. Yeah, like me and Steffi go to Atlanta like at least once a month, if not twice, or I'm visiting my friends up there once a month, and like it's a 2-hour drive and it's nothing. But there are people for sure in Georgia or where we're at that 30 minutes. Oh, don't let it be a 30-minute drive. That is just too much.
I dated a guy for 2 fucking years that lived 45 minutes away.
Yeah, like I worked in Macon, which was a 45-minute drive every day for a year and a half.
Like I would go over to his house almost every day, right after school, and it was like a 45-minute drive. And I was like, oh, whatever. And now I'm like, 20 minutes to go hike in this like beautiful like hiking trail that overlooks a river. Oh, fuck that. Drive 10 minutes across town to go to go fucking Ulta. Fuck that. Mm-mm.
Yeah, meanwhile, to go to Target is a 30-minute drive on the other side of town. Right. So you don't have a choice.
Yeah, like it doesn't bother you because you don't have the choice. Because here it's like, do I want to pay? Because I could drive like 5 minutes down the interstate, get off, go to Fred Meyer, which is basically Kroger, and get groceries for way fucking cheaper. But instead I'll like drive like a quarter of a mile up the road for fucking Rose Hours, which is like kind of like Publix.
It'd be like if Kroger stepped it up a bit. Not quite Publix, but it's not Kroger. It's like an in-between.
Yeah. But it's still like their prices are more expensive than say like an actual like Kroger owned place.
Yeah.
So it's just like you really get spoiled with the convenience of everything being so close. I don't know if it's just like, I'm sure it's like for like a lot of cities.
Yeah.
And like I never really understood why. Like when I was visiting New York, our tour guide told us that most people just stay within their neighborhoods and don't leave. And that was like, that baffled me when I was like still in our hometown. Because I was like, what the fuck? I drive all over town. I drive to Macon just to like
get some makeup walk around. Yeah.
But like now that I'm here, it's like I hardly ever leave the South Hill because there's not really like much reason to. I mean, shit. Like there's hiking trails on my way to work, like just up the road. We didn't do those because they were like really steep. They're like on the side of a ridge.
And I'm not ready for that.
Yeah. I'm sure they're not like that bad, but
I think some of those look pretty rough.
Yeah, they look pretty like, I don't know which ones are not steep and which ones they are.
Signs marking. Yeah,
they're just like little like running trails that people have made over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Which is also like different because there wasn't like, I got yelled at so much just for like by random people. Like they didn't even own the land. Like just me walking around in the woods, it would just piss them off. Like in Georgia, like I couldn't just fucking take a walk in the woods. Like in the golf course, I would just be like walking in the woods, and like.
And golfers who don't live in the neighborhood but have a membership to the golf course, who are like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "I live here." Like, fuck off.
It's like, yeah, like I live here. I'm just walking through the woods. Like I'm not even like near you. Like, I'm not even near the course. I'm just fucking walking. Like, goddamn. And, like, that really fucking sucked. But it is nice here that you can just walk around in the woods and no one's like, what are you doing? What are you up to? Like, people are a lot less nosy here.
People are a lot more active here, too.
Mm-hmm. You don't see a lot of fat people.
Mm-mm.
Like, at all. Well, it's also like I've been a lot healthier since I moved here because like fast food's so expensive and eating out is so expensive. I can't just get Chinese for $5.
Yeah.
God, there was this like fast food hibachi joint that had like, you could get like hibachi shrimp and rice for like $7.
Yeah, East Coast Chinese.
Fucking, that shit was so.
You went cheap and good.
Did not heat up well, but. I ate that shit so much. And yum yum sauce. I don't know if you know like shrimp sauce. It's like
yeah, it's just ketchup, mayo, and Sprite. If you guys didn't know that, I used to work at a Japanese restaurant. It is ketchup, mayo, and Sprite. That's all it is. Maybe some places put ginger ale in it. Yeah, that's all it is.
But yeah, they don't have that here. That's like not a thing.
That's depressing.
I told people what it was and they got really grossed out, but it's like you fucking put that on rice.
Yeah, and steak and chicken and shrimp, just everything.
Oh, damn.
Drink it. Just drink it.
Just fucking drink it. What are the bits then? What are the bits in it? Is it just like bits of ketchup?
I don't know. I haven't had any with bits. Where are you getting some with bits? I don't want to know.
I think some of it is like, I don't know, maybe some people put like bonito flakes in it.
Maybe, that's possible. Or
that
like
makes sense.
panko or something. I don't know. But yeah, so overall, much chiller up here. And I think like just being in West Coast in general, it's a healthier vibe, environment, like food wise.
Oh, they fucking love beer here too. They fucking love beer. Like there's like a tap house every like
block. It's
every
like
few blocks.
Tap houses and breweries are here like bodegas in New York.
Like I have a few beers in the fridge that like one of Josiah's family friends made. Like he's not even like, he works for the fucking railroad. Like he's not like from any money or anything.
Well, I have a friend who makes infused liquor.
But like he's like a little side company, like bottled beer. That's just like him fucking around. And it's just like crazy to me.
Yeah, so it's a real chill environment for sure. More laid back. Weather is, you actually have seasons. The food is strikingly different in how that's done.
Oh, what I did notice was, there's like a smoke season here. Like there'll be like wildfires in like Canada or like middle of the state or Oregon, and like it'll blow.
Well, even the ones in California last year were really bad. In South California, you were getting smoke from that, weren't you?
Mm-hmm. There was that, and there was also that big fire in like Hood River, like those parks. But I saw a picture of them the other day from like someone that drove through it, and actually like it's growing back really nice.
That's good.
Like it was so fucking sad because it was so gorgeous. Like that that iconic like waterfall with like the bridge going over it.
Oh yeah.
And like that was all burned.
Ooh.
It was fucked. And it was really odd because it's like people on the West Coast, they like, it's like, I don't know, like on the East Coast I never really seemed to like if someone was in Georgia in our town, their whole family was from Georgia, or like they moved from one other place.
If they weren't military, then they were brought up in Georgia, pretty much.
Yeah, and like, but like for instance with the town of Paradise burning down, that affected up here as directly as like one, the smoke coming up, and also I had a coworker whose in-laws lived in Paradise and had to like move in with them. So it's like people just have like family, like, because a lot of people, they move up and down, like they like will move down to California, Californians will move up to Washington or like Oregon.
Yeah.
Like they all kind of like
just intermingle.
Yeah, since it's all kind of the same vibe, and they never had like a civil war to like separate them, so there's no like animosity. It's like
it's just chill all along the board. And it's like, even like me and my friends from New Jersey joke about like Southern North divide. It's like there are definitely like stereotypes on each side that you're taught from a child, while over here it's just like it's just California, it's just Oregon.
No, people also like generally don't like Californians though.
Yeah.
But I think most of the country doesn't like Californians.
Most of the country doesn't like South Californians. They forget the rest of the state even exists.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, the most striking thing for me was no people of color. And the weather, like it being mid-April and there's still snow on the ground.
You should definitely look up like the smoke pictures, especially from last year, because like the air quality was so bad. Like I was closing at Jimmy John's when it was like at its worst, and it was like up to like 400 out of like 500. Like 500 is like the end of the scale of how bad air can be, and it was like 430 or something. And that was when they closed down the store. You're supposed to close it down at like 200.
Yeah, retail, they wait till like the last possible minute to do anything safety wise.
And it was just 2 hours before we closed anyway, so.
Yeah, well, like one of the bad hurricanes from the last hurricane season at Publix, we didn't close till 8:30 and we closed at 10 normally. And the rain had already started. Like rainfall started like at 4 o'clock, and then our district manager's like at 8 o'clock, he's like, hey, we're closing at 8:30. Like, cool.
Yeah, that fucking that happened to me when I worked at the Jimmy John's in Georgia. Like there was fucking tornado sirens going off, and it was like downpouring rain, and they were still like, oh yeah, you gotta take this delivery. I'm like, I'm not fucking doing it. Like you can fire me, I'm not gonna risk my life for a goddamn $6 sandwich.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I will give them the money.
Like I will just pay them out of my own pocket, the refund. But yeah, so I mean, obviously there's like the human experience in just being human beings. There's going to be similarities, but
another difference is that a lot of people haven't left like the city. Like I don't know if that's like the same for Georgia, but like a lot of people just like I know a ton of people that have never left Spokane.
They're not so much in Warner Robins, but definitely in other places. Like I had one teacher in high school tell me, what is going on there? Told me that one of his students he took down, the football team went down to Savannah, and he was a coach for the football team. They were down to Savannah for a game, and so they just stayed the whole weekend, and that was the first time he'd ever left Warner Robins and ever seen the coast. Yeah.
Like there's a lot of people, like I was getting blood drawn by a nurse, and she was talking about how excited she was because like the summer she was going to go down to the Oregon coast, and she'd like never left the city before, and she was in her 40s. And I was like, holy fuck.
Your first out of the country experience was 2 years old.
Right? Like that's like why it's like so fucking baffling. Like, I know this girl who's going to California in like next week, and she like that's her first time leaving the city.
This is my furthest west I've been, and my first time on the West Coast.
But I just mean like leaving
in general,
the city, like just leaving the city that you grew up in,
where your family is. And
I can't imagine. I cannot fucking imagine never like venturing outside.
Yeah, like even over to Seattle or something.
Right?
It's like it's only 4 hours away. You have this major city. Like even for like concerts or
a lot of
band, yeah, they do come
a lot
here.
Of bands come here. Yeah, that's
true. Yeah, like Hoser's gonna be here next week. Didn't get to see him in Atlanta either. Still salty about it, but it's fine.
There's actually like a lot of really good music venues here.
I can see that. I can feel it. It's kind of, I was gonna say like Nashville. It's nothing like Nashville at all, actually.
I wish I still like gave as much of a shit about concerts as I did when I was a teenager in college. Because now like I've been to so many concerts now, free or otherwise, that they don't, like it's just live music.
It's like I want to go to
like me sitting watching people play live music that I can hear way better quality just playing it off my phone.
That is true.
Like it's cool being in the same room as the band, but it's also like you're in the same room with like thousands of other people, or even just hundreds of other people. It's
just hot and crowded, and like I can listen to it in my car on my own.
Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah, so the Northeast or West needs to get some more people of color. There's too much whiteness up here. Just because you need some fucking style in your life. But yeah, the parks and the scenery is just, even though like their winter just ended, it's still like stunningly gorgeous here. Versus like everything just like bloomed and now it's about to go brown and die.
When I talk to people about like Georgia, they're like, "Oh, it's just green all year round, isn't it?" It's like, no, it's brown.
It's brown 99% of the year.
Yeah, like it's like there's like a couple months in the summer when it's really really green, and then
more like in May.
Yeah, and like May, April. Like spring.
And once nice and green. Or April and March, and then May
then it gets really
dry.
Fucking hot, and then
God, it's so hot.
And it's brown until next spring.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for that reason is why a lot of people don't fully appreciate where they live, because they just like they see. Like they've never like I feel like I would hate the city I grew up in if I never left it. Like shit, I did leave the city I grew up in like a lot.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, and it's still just like I know people that haven't been to the town over.
Yeah, like how can you not go?
I'm not talking about like not.
Over.
I don't mean like never gone on vacation, never like I don't mean like that. I mean like they have never left the city limits of Spokane.
Just for us to like
that. Fucking blows my mind.
I mean, just for us to go to the store, we had to go to the next town over.
Right?
We just got a store not even a full year ago, 2 miles from the house in the same town that we were in. like yeah, like no, that's not Bonner. I'm thinking of the Kathleen post office that isn't there anymore. But yeah, it's just like for the longest time we had to go 15 minutes to get groceries. Because in the next town over.
Yeah, and it was like fine.
It's like whatever.
But you drive like 15-20 minutes here, you're like in a fucking national park.
Yeah.
And if you drive like half an hour, you're in like the next state over in another city. Which I mean that's fucking like Macon too, but I don't know. I just can't wrap my head around like never leaving, because this isn't like a huge city by any means. It's definitely like small. Like it's hardly a city in its own
It'd be like
right.
Macon if Macon was kept up.
Yeah.
And didn't go through the corruption it's been through.
And that's why it's so like baffling to me. Like I can understand being like, oh, I've never left Seattle.
Yeah, it's a big city.
I've
you have all the
never left
commodities
San Francisco, or I've never left New York. Like that would make sense to me. But like, all right, yeah.
You have everything you need.
Leaving like Macon?
Yeah, God.
You never left. Like what the fuck?
Or like one
like, even as an adult, like that's what like this girl's like 19. Like you have your own car. You never thought to like drive and explore. You're just like, nope, just fucking. This is my life. This is where I live.
Yeah. So like overall, there are definitely striking differences that you notice that you're just kind of hit in the face with. But then there are also like similarities, just because the human experience, and we're all humans, and we all go through similar things.
They're still the assholes, so they're still the druggies and assholes and two-faced people.
I was thinking more nicer things, but sure.
Well, I just mean like the people are more laid back, but there's still like given the human experience, there's always gonna be dicks wherever you go.
Yeah, that's true. Alrighty, I will see you later. I don't know the next time I'll be up here. I will be able to come up here in the summer. Hopefully. And see how different it is in the summer compared to the early spring.
Oh, it's really pretty in the summer.
Alright, bye you guys. I love you.